Mastering the second conditional. Avoiding the common mistake of was versus were. Hello, language learners. Today we're going to dive deep into an essential topic that often confuses even the most seasoned English learners: the proper usage of was and were in the second conditional. Understanding this is vital to sounding more natural and fluent in English, so let's get started. The second conditional is a structure we use to talk about hypothetical situations in the present or future. It follows the pattern: if plus subject plus past simple, subject plus would plus verb, base form. For example, if I had $1 million, I would buy a house. Notice we're using the past simple tense, even though we're talking about the present or future. This is a unique characteristic of the second conditional. Was and were are past tense forms of the verb be. Was is used with the subjects I, he, she, and it. Were is used with you, we, and they. In standard English grammar, we use were instead of was, after, if, in the second conditional, regardless of the subject. This is known as subjunctive mood, used for hypothetical situations. For example, if I were a millionaire, I would buy a house, not, if I was a millionaire, I would buy a house. The most common mistake English learners make is using was instead of were in the second conditional. This happens because, in everyday informal English, native speakers sometimes use was instead of were. However, it's important to know that in formal English, and especially in written English, we should always use were in these situations. Incorrect: if I was a millionaire, I would buy a house. Correct: if I were a millionaire, I would buy a house. Remember, always use were after if in the second conditional, regardless of the subject. The best way to overcome this common mistake is through practice. Try writing or saying sentences using the second conditional, and always remember to use were after if. Here's a fun exercise. Imagine what you would do if you were the president, a superhero, or even an animal. Remember, the more you practice, the more natural it will become. That wraps up our discussion on the common mistake of using was instead of were in the second conditional. It might seem tricky at first, but with practice and patience, you'll surely master it. Remember, English is a journey, not a race. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you found this video helpful. Keep practicing and happy learning.